All right. Well, it's that time. I need to turn this TV down a little bit. It's that time. Another Saturday, another great day of college football. We're gonna give our boys some time to get in here. While I do that, I'm gonna update my graphics that I've got to make here. Because obviously I didn't get a video done yesterday. I had some stuff I had to do for the new job I'm getting ready to start, and it took up a lot more of my day than I expected. So yesterday I didn't get a video. Sorry about that, but we're back today, and we got a good set of topics today, I think, to talk about to kind of cover for that. Thankfully, this part doesn't take too terribly long. Let's see here. Putting together the Take 10 right now graphic, and we got some fun games on there. I'm actually kind of excited to talk about some of these. I think it's going to be a fun little segment to have.
Hello?
What's going on, Cam? How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm putting together my Take 10 graphic right now, so be excited. It's going to be a
Oh,
fun little
nice.
deal here once we get to that point. But I'm not there yet. I got a little more to do, sadly.
Yeah.
I saw you have an episode of Stick Taps out this morning. Would that be correct?
What's up?
I said I saw you got an episode of Stick Taps that dropped this morning. Would that be correct?
Yes.
What do we got on tap there? No pun intended, of course.
Yeah. I recorded it earlier this morning.
Well, what do you talk about? That's what I asked.
Um a few of the games that happened this week, I kind of did one each day that I thought was most important.
I got you.
Then of course the news around the league. There really wasn't a lot of news from around the league, so I did that. Then I discussed the Colorado goaltending stuff.
You should.
Then really that was it. And of course the 3 stars of the week. Columbus makes an appearance in that, by the way.
If I were to guess, it's Wierenski.
Yes.
Okay. I figured. I figured it would have to be.
He had a hot week.
No, it was great this week. I mean, hard to be upset about that at all.
Mhm.
All right, I got 2 more logos to add to this, and I'm ready to really get rolling here.
Nothing.
I'm gonna go ahead and send this on over to you so you can see it.
Okay.
I would send
Grab
it to
my
BJ,
phone.
but I can guarantee he's not gonna fucking show up. So
Notorious man of his word that he is.
yeah, he is something. So, anyways, I got it there. Now I can put it up on the screen for those to see. And again, since I didn't get to do this yesterday, you get to see it today. So,
Georgia cooks their brisket in a microwave.
that is some tough shit, dude. That's disgusting.
Yeah. That's
I will
funny.
say, I got a surprise for the viewers today. Which dog is out? Any guesses? Come here, buddy. Oh, I kind of just gave it away.
I was
Come
gonna
here.
say my money was on Bo,
Come here,
since
Bo.
typically
Come
he's not the one who's out.
Come on. Come here. No, dude, you gotta get up. Come on. Jump up here. Come on. Hey, dude, I know you're like.
I'll pull that up so that way I can follow along the comments.
That way
as
we can see
well.
Mr. Bo being the best dog in the world. He's such a good boy. He gets to be
been
on.
a good boy.
Oh, yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, well,
Mr.
I
Nonchalant
did.
himself. Couldn't give a damn about anything in the world, could you?
He's just living his best life
All
for
right, I'll let
these
you lay
days.
down. You can get back on the ground and lay down. I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick. So you keep that up on the screen.
Let's see. Clemson minus 20 and a half. I actually think UVA can cover that personally. I like the ballsiness of the take, but that's it. Um,
I'll explain them all when I
so
come back over there.
yeah, USC. I like that against Maryland. Maryland's been kind of ass the last few weeks. Wisconsin, yeah, Northwestern hasn't shown up since the first couple of weeks. I do like that
Also,
under.
it's my favorite time of the year. Apple cider time.
Oh yeah,
I love
yeah.
this shit. It's so good, dude. I gotta have it
Apple
every year.
cider is really good.
Can you lay down, bud? Can you lay down?
I like apple cider more than hot chocolate.
Down.
You and I talked about it.
Lucas,
You know,
lay
I'm
down.
not a coffee guy because of the way
Down.
I grew up, but I do dig me some good apple cider.
All the time, dude. Every year. And so like I go to Publix, right? Which is I'm sure not something you have.
No,
But I go to Publix and I genuinely enjoy what I get from Publix and the apple cider. They have it year round, but for some reason it just hits different this time of year. So
yeah, it's definitely a fall or late fall, early winter type of a
yeah,
drink.
I'm having this little deal right now. This it's not really a crisis. It's just how I feel this time around. Like I'm really excited for Christmas this year. Very
Mhm,
excited, and I didn't get that. I didn't have that vibe last year, but I'm actually excited this time around. So
mhm.
um, once I start this new job in a couple weeks, I'm probably gonna get some stuff.
Yeah, I
I got a little
I'm
ceramic Christmas
very.
tree. It's got
Mhm,
the little light bulbs that you like. You put these little bulbs in the holes, right? And it'll light up, and
mhm,
it's just a ceramic tree. It's nothing too fancy,
mhm.
but you have a little switch. It has some batteries in it. It turns on. It lights up, right? Love
Yeah,
that thing. And my mom got it for me. It was the first. It was like my move-in gift from her because I was
yeah.
moving
I
in around Christmas
remember
time. She
that.
was like, "I want you to have something for Christmas." I was like, "Okay." And it didn't really mean much to me, but I was pissed because I moved down here, wasn't going to get to see anybody that year, so it was what it was. And this year, I'm a little more okay with it at least because I know that I'm doing a job that I like and I'm doing things that I enjoy. But
Mhm.
the end goal is basically behind me, which you can see this little wall, like where all the die casts and stuff are. Directly under that, there's like a little hole, right? There's like a little
Mhm.
hole that goes down the wall under that little stand piece.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna
Is
hang.
that where
I
the
think I'm gonna hang
trees
some.
are gonna go?
No, I'm gonna hang some stockings right beyond,
Okay.
below those. The tree is gonna go over here in the corner, right there, in between the books. I think.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
I see that. Yeah.
yeah, we
I
got some.
I understand though, because like I I've never really been a huge Christmas guy, but working retail the past few years has definitely made me jaded to certain aspects of the holiday, like to where I wouldn't describe myself as a huge Christmas guy in any way, shape,
Well,
or
so
way.
here's the thing, right? So you get to be
But
pestered by Christmas music
yeah,
from probably 13 days from
I've
now.
already I've already heard the occasional Christmas jingle on the overhead, and it's like all the dumb shit. Like I tend to be more of like the traditional Christmas music type of a person, where it's like
Right.
more focused on the meaning behind the holiday. Yes, hymns and that kind of stuff. Um, but like because of that, Walmart doesn't really play that anymore. They're gonna
Yeah.
be they're gonna play the stuff that's gonna push the gifts.
Right. So yeah, no, I'm not a fan of the Christmas music in October, but I will say that I think I'm definitely interested in it a little more this year. And I have my specific like Christmas playlist that I listen to. That's not what most will hear. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like different country artists and stuff like that that it'll rotate
Yeah,
through. Um,
some
but yeah,
Keith Whitley Christmas.
is that a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. If
I
it
would not
is,
be shocked if that's a thing. I would
no.
look it
My
up.
favorite Christmas album right now, actually over the last couple of years, has been the Scotty McCreery Christmas album. If I'm being honest,
Okay.
it's a good one.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking
anyways,
that up now
to
because I
not
am
get on that
actually
conversation,
curious.
to get out of the Christmas talk in October.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of funny to me, like how I'm starting to kind of be pretty excited about it and looking forward
Yeah,
to
no,
all
I
that.
get you. Like for my first year away though, I understand.
I just
Me and
didn't
my
care about any of
roommate
it. Like
went
I was
all
just
out.
whatever.
Yeah.
But this year,
Let's
I'm a little
see.
more okay with. I'm also in a better like headspace this year too, which is
Yeah.
helpful. So, all right, let's get into some college football talk today. So, I got my take 10 here. Obviously, you made mention you don't really agree with Clemson and Virginia, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why I agree
Mhm.
with Clemson and Virginia. We've seen the Clemson offense over the last handful of weeks be just
Yeah.
fast, in a hurry, doing everything right over the course of every week, really. The Florida
Mhm.
State game, so be it, but we expect it. Florida State's defense isn't really the problem, it's the fact that they can't score. So, when we watch Clemson go into this week, I think they're going to score. And I think at some point, as much as I like Anthony Calandria, he's not going to be able to keep them in this game. And eventually it's going to start getting out of hand. Things are going to start looking iffy. It may be close, but I think they cover 20. I think they could cover anything up to probably 25 or 28. I don't think it gets to the 30s, but I think Clemson covers pretty comfortably in this one. USC minus 7.5 against Maryland. Look, Maryland's been really bad. I do not trust Billy
Yeah.
Edwards to be able to hang around with the USC offense and their speed. Roman Hemby has been okay, but really not that good. The Maryland offense has just been bad, period, this year. So, really liking that. Wisconsin minus 7.5 against Northwestern. Wisconsin's offense has looked a lot better over the last few weeks. Northwestern, on the other hand, just can't really score, and I don't think they're going to start here
Mhm.
against Wisconsin. Pretty comfortable in that thought process. Michigan and Illinois under 44.5. I just think that this game is going to be dominated by time of possession. This game is going to be taken kind of slow by both sides. I mean, Illinois is wearing some 1920s uniforms, and I think it's going to be played like a 1920s game. But I expect Jack Tuttle to be better this week. I expect the less turnovers from the Michigan offense. I'm taking Michigan to win. I just don't think it's going to be a cover from them. So I took the under instead. I might regret that. I might wish I took Illinois to cover. But hey, whatever.
Mhm.
USF is not minus 23.5. It's minus 14.5 or minus 13.5. I hit the wrong button. So minus 13.5 USF against UAB. I like that a lot. I would like that up to 23.5, to be completely honest. I just think UAB is really bad. I think USF has the ability to do whatever they need to do, cover this game off. Cincinnati against Arizona State. Now, I wouldn't typically take this cover. I don't trust Jeff Sims, and Cam Scadaboo not going to do it all on his own. So I'm taking Cincinnati to cover 5.5 against Arizona State. Notre Dame minus 13.5 against Georgia Tech. I got that this morning, and the biggest thing here is Zach Pyron going to be the starter for Georgia Tech. Haynes King is out. That changes my tone a little bit on this game because remember earlier this week I talked about it a little bit and even said that with Haynes King out, or sorry, with Benjamin Morrison out for Notre Dame in the secondary, I kind of like Georgia Tech to move the ball a little bit more. I'm not taking that anymore. I'm all in on
Mhm.
Notre Dame and the cover. Bama and Tennessee over 56.5. Look, the Bama secondary has been pretty rough this year. They've allowed a lot of points. Tennessee has the ability to allow a lot of points in this game. I think
Mhm.
we're going to be talking about the overhitting in Bama versus
Yeah,
Tennessee.
I agree with that big for sure.
Colorado and Arizona, same thing. Both these offenses can move the ball. I don't really care who's playing on either side of the ball. I think that this is going to be a very fun, high-scoring game. Over 58.5 seems pretty obvious. And then lastly, Missouri minus 3.5 against Auburn. They're at home in Columbia. I think it's going to be a big time win for Missouri, a good bounce back. And remember, they play Oklahoma or they play Alabama next week in Tuscaloosa. So it's going to be an interesting week for them, but they got to take care of business. They cannot afford losses right now. So I think they're going to be fine coming out here getting a win. So that's my take 10 this week.
Yeah.
As of right now, before we carry on, the record this year is 38-34. So we're okay. We're above 500. We are okay, but I would like to get a little better. And I'm excited to see what we can do this week. Hopefully, we can add another 6-4, 7-3 type of week, and really start pushing this out a little bit further above 500.
Yeah. Honestly, outside of the Virginia one and the Arizona State one, purely from bias there, I don't disagree with any of them, honestly. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, no, like most of those are gonna hit. Like, again, the Virginia one, I just see them being able to hang around in this game.
Well, so here's the thing.
Um, and
The best Virginia teams have not been able to hang with Clemson over the last couple of years. I mean, if you go back, you remember when Virginia made the ACC championship game?
yeah,
I was
they
at
got
that game.
absolutely waxed.
I was there.
So,
I was
yeah.
there. And I thought Virginia would hang around. That was the whole reason I fucking went. I thought Virginia, I didn't think it was going to be 66-17. So,
yeah,
walking into this one, yeah, I mean, I know this game's in Charlottesville. I know Virginia's a good team. I think I don't think they're as good as people are saying. I don't think they're as good as their record may indicate. And that's where I'm really taking Clemson here to roll.
I more so think it's going to be a 17-point victory that feels like Clemson controls the entire game more than anything else.
I don't think Virginia scores 17 points, and I think Clemson can get into the 30s. That's my point of view here. This kind of reminds me of like the Clemson-Stanford game a lot. And actually, this game's in Death Valley. It's not even in Charlottesville. So, yeah, I'm 100% Clemson on the cover. They have anything next week that would stop that? No, because Louisville's not even been that good. So,
no, Louisville's.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk some college football. Let's talk some of the games this week. We got about 30 to 40 minutes left in this stream. Thank you guys for everybody who's tuned in so far. Miami on the road against Louisville. Miami a 4.5-point favorite. To be honest, there are parts of me that like Louisville to win this game, but there are parts of me that say that's probably not going to happen. We're due for Miami to look bad at some point. But the issue is, I don't think this is that same team. I think that Mario has kind of learned from his mistakes so far over there in Miami. So I'm going to take the Hurricanes to win. I think I don't know if they cover. I'm going to say they cover. I think if they win, they have to. But I think this is actually going to be kind of an underrated game. Noon. It gets the ABC slot. I like this game a lot. But again, taking Miami.
Yeah, I have Miami as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it's close for about 3/4, but I think Miami does.
Oh, they got Tony Hinchcliffe on here? No way. That's awesome. Dude, I love that Pat's like just bringing people in. He's like, I don't really care. Look, I don't care what you guys think.
I know this is the way that you've done game day, but this is the way
we're gonna bring some people on here. I mean, he probably went to. I mean, so he was even saying he went over to Rogan's mothership and saw a show last night. So.
Yeah, he mentioned that. I'm sure that was a lot of fun, funny.
Oh yeah, dude, Rogan's regulars out over there. I mean, they're hard to beat, man.
Yeah.
Some of my favorites are over there, and I'm sure that could get me canceled. But I mean, I like Tony. Tony's awesome. Have you guys watched the Tom Brady roast? Tony's fantastic.
I
Tony is
I've seen the
really good at
clips
that.
of it. Yeah.
Um, Obviously Shane's a great one. Um, Ron White is over there pretty regularly now, as he's pretty much
Mhm.
retired at this point.
Yeah.
Um, Man, there's some real good. Santino, Andrew Santino's over there.
Yeah.
Um,
You and
some
I
good ones.
tend to have similar tastes of comedians, so
Yeah, yeah.
I completely understand. I'm right there with
Well, it's
you.
crazy because I've watched some of the guys that I thought would be funny.
Hmm.
They're gonna give him another one.
Yeah, he's gonna get me.
They've been really going for that another. I think they just want the streak to keep going. Honestly, Pat doesn't care. Pat doesn't give a damn. He was like,
Yeah.
he's like, I don't care. Take my money. Real quick, while we're waiting on them to do another one. Wake Forest and UConn. Look, Wake Forest is a 2.5 point favorite. They had lost to Louisiana earlier this year. They are really, really bad. I hate to say
Hmm.
that I think the Dave Clawson era is probably coming to an end. It just look, the slow mesh is one thing, but this team cannot keep losing the talent that they are losing on a year in year out basis and think that they're going to continue to be good. They moved away from Mitch Griffiths, which was, in my opinion, one of the worst decisions I've seen. Um, in favor of Hank Bachmeier. And look, I'm not hating on Hank Bachmeier, but he's not a
Hank
guy that I would be
Bachmeier
taking.
is not a good
Yeah, he's
quarterback.
not
I
a
have seen.
he's not a guy that I'm taking, to lead my team in any rate, especially at the power 4 level. I don't know what
I
he did to deserve to be a part of that, but it's not what I would take. So the fact that Mitch Griffiths leaves, you're not even going with Michael Kern, you're going with Hank Bachmeier. The mismanagement of this roster uh, is it's just sad. So I'm taking UConn to win, and not because I want to. It's just it's been a rough last couple of years for Wake, and I don't know. I feel like it's
Mhm.
just gonna kind of all come together for this game to probably be the nail in the coffin for Dave Clawson. And he could be an offensive coordinator somewhere, and I think do a really good job. But you need somebody that can hold a roster together, especially in this position. I mean, we've seen what
Mhm.
Clark Lea was able to do. I mean, they had a down year, and then he turns around and brings in a hell of a portal class for Vandy standards. And now this
Mhm.
team's sitting at 4-2, probably going to be 5-2 after this week, with potential to pull one more upset and maybe be a 6-2 team.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't see any world where Wake Forest wins this game as well. Like they've been bad, and as somebody who has seen Hank Bachmeier play way more quarterback than anyone should, like he's not an option you want to be trotting out there. Give me UConn to win and win very comfortably.
We already talked Virginia and Clemson, so I'm going to move past that one. Notre Dame and Georgia Tech, we talked about, again, Haynes King not playing today, big deal. I'm taking Notre Dame to win, taking Notre Dame to cover.
Yeah,
3:30,
Notre Dame wins.
NC State rolls out to Cal, out to Berkeley. 3-3 Cal, 0-3 in ACC, but they're not really losing by a lot. They blew a big lead against Miami, and they had a chance to beat Florida State late in that one. That's Florida State's only win, by the way. NC State 3-4, 0-3 in ACC play, but they got to roll out CJ Bailey. I'm taking Cal at home in Berkeley. They'll get their first ACC win in school history.
Yeah.
8 p.m. in Palo Alto out at Stanford. SMU rolls into town, 16.5 point favorites. I think they're going to win. I don't question that. And I think they're going to cover. I just think this SMU team is really starting to figure out who they are and what they're capable of. It's good to see. For many, as a apologist for Preston Stone, it's kind of sad to see that how it's worked out, but it's good to see either way. I like SMU. I think it's a good program, and I like seeing them kind of come in and say, "Yeah, you know what? We're going to pay our way through this conference, and we're still going to beat your ass while we do it, and we'll get that ACC championship revenue one way or the other." It's going to be fun to watch. I think they'll walk out of here at 6-1, 3-0 in ACC play, and they don't have a terribly tough road. They go at Duke next week, which will be big. That's an 8 p.m. kick again next week on ACC Network. And then they'll play Pitt,
Mm.
Boston College, Virginia, and Cal. I think if they get through Pitt undefeated or without a loss in ACC play, I think they're rolling undefeated into the conference championship week, and then it's just up to whatever else happens. We got a couple games that happened during the week. Virginia Tech with a 42-21 win after being up 28-0. It was all of a sudden 28-21. Uh-oh. Virginia Tech's choking. No, they win 42-21, big time, at the hands of Byshaw Tootin with 266 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. A big deal, big win for Virginia Tech. And then on Friday, last night, Duke 23, Florida State 16. First win in school history against Florida State for the Blue Devils, and they do it in dramatic fashion. 6-1 on the season is Duke. So those who thought that Manny Diaz and Mike Elko's departure meant that Duke was going down, no, they're not going anywhere, I don't believe. Now, Duke does have some tough games remaining on their schedule. SMU and Miami back-to-back. And then NC State, Virginia Tech, and Wake Forest to close out the season. This Duke team could be 9-3. And it's still in the conversation. So that's fun to see. I enjoy seeing Duke be a pretty solid team. By the way, in the chat, I see you. Hey, Omar. How you doing, man? Welcome back to the show. Big 12 conference action. Arizona State at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 6-point favorite now. I got them at 5.5, and I'm loving that 5.5. Cincy, look, they're 4-2, 2-1 in Big 12. Arizona State coming in without Sam Levitt. That's a big deal in this game. Brendan Sorsby, the Cincinnati rushing attack. I think this team is I think this is a very complete Cincinnati team for what we expected, and especially in the Scott Satterfield era. This team does what Satterfield likes to do, and they do it all very well. I like Cincinnati in this game. And to be honest, I don't know if Sam Levitt really changes my opinion of that game, but it certainly does not help my opinion of this game. Taking the Cats at home.
What's up? Sorry about that.
I'm just saying I'm taking Cincinnati at home against Arizona State.
I for obvious reasons have Arizona State winning that one. I think they'll
I just
that's probably
how,
pure bias.
It has to be, because how do you trust Jeff Sims to do it?
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
I
no,
can't
like,
I cannot bring myself to. I will gladly take being wrong if it helps you, okay? But
Yeah.
for me, I am not picking
No,
Jeff Sims as the starting quarterback of any team in a game like this.
I don't have a strong enough reason to really argue besides forks up. So yeah, no, you're good. Like, feel free to do that. But yeah, no, like it's like you in Michigan at times. Like, just
To be fair, I have picked against Michigan a lot this year. Took Texas. I took Washington. I took Washington earlier this year. So
you remember last year I picked against Arizona State a ton too. So
yeah, I mean, it's been a good year. It's just one of those games where I have a really hard time taking who's at quarterback.
Yeah.
Houston goes to Arrowhead to face Kansas. Kansas is at 1-5, kind of a surprise to be so bad this year. But I think they're going to start getting a turnaround. I'm going to take them to win. Be 2-5. It'll be their first Big 12 win this season. I just do not. I don't trust Houston, but the biggest problem is Jalen Daniels has turned the ball over a lot. He's got 7 touchdowns to 8 interceptions through the first 6.
Mm-hmm.
Need to see those numbers turn around, and I think they can. But of course, proving it will be one thing.
Yeah, no, and I agree there. I do think Kansas wins and is able to right the ship a little bit. I don't necessarily think they're going to be what we thought they were this year, but I do think that Kansas does win this game and use it as a bounce back type of a game.
Colorado at Arizona. I'm taking Colorado in this game, actually. I know they're 4-2. I know they just lost last week, but they're going to come into this game. I think Arizona is getting a little too much love at home, and I think the only reason they are a favorite is because this game's in Tucson. I like what Colorado's been able to do. They've definitely improved defensively,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're going to roll through this game. I think they know what they need to do. They know that they need Travis Hunter to be back and fully healthy in this game. But I'm going to take the Buffs to move to 5-2. That'll beat last year's win total.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I have Colorado winning as well. Um, I think I think we've seen Arizona kind of up and down throughout the year, and so I think that Colorado has has at least improved enough defensively to where that
Yeah.
helps them. Excuse me, sorry. So yeah,
Baylor at Texas Tech, and Texas Tech is a 5-point favorite at home in Lubbock against Baylor. And I'm taking Texas Tech and the points. I think they're going to cover that with ease. Um, Guns up in Lubbock.
yeah. Texas Tech wins and covers easily.
7:30 p.m. UCF on the road against Iowa State. Iowa State coming in as 13-point favorites. I don't know that Iowa State covers the 13, but I do think that Iowa State wins. They'll be 7-0. This team is, I'm telling you, I think this is the most complete team in the Big 12. I think this is the most fundamentally sound team, potentially, in college football. That does not mean, before anybody listens to that and overreacts, I said most fundamentally sound team. I did not say best team in college football. And there's a total difference. But being fundamentally sound means that this team could be a playoff contender, and I mean, right now is a playoff contender, but could be a team that maybe makes some interesting headway through the playoffs. That we might see them in the semifinals, and that would be impressive. I'm not going to go that far right now. I'm just saying that there is a ceiling for them that I think it does result in them getting a playoff win. Iowa State right now, today, beating UCF at home in Jack Trice.
Yeah, I have Iowa State winning. I'm kind of bullish on the cover because I think it's going to be about 10 to 15 point victory. So I understand that hesitancy on the cover, but definitely Iowa State wins.
UCF made a QB change, huh? Who are they rolling
I
with? Curious to see who they're rolling with. I did not know that they were doing that. Ja'Cory Brown. Okay. 13 and 20, a touchdown. No picks. 207 last week. Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. That'll be interesting to follow.
Yeah. Omar just confirmed it in the chat
Yeah.
as well.
Well, I just saw that he played last week. I didn't realize he played against Cincinnati last week. 7:30 p.m. on Fox. Kansas State on the road against West Virginia. K-State's a 3-point favorite in this game. I'm taking Kansas State to win with no disrespect to West Virginia, but hey, at least they're going to have fun, right? K-State wins, covers.
Yeah, K-State wins and covers.
10:30 p.m. on ESPN. TCU goes on the road against Utah, and look, I dropped Utah a long way last week because I still think they're a top 25 team, but they dropped a pretty long way down to 23rd, I believe, in my rankings. and they need a win here. They really need it in order for them to continue to be competitive at this point in the Big 12. Look, I'm not very thrilled with what I've seen from either of these teams. I think both offenses have been lackluster at best, and that includes Isaac Wilson, who I thought has played well. They just haven't put points on the board. I'm going to take Utah because they are at home. This is a night game at Rice Eccles. But that's really the only reason I'm taking Utah. I don't have a solid position on this game.
Yeah, no. Like we've seen both these teams be kind of streaky at times this season. So, I mean, I I do have Utah winning as well. I think I think having Isaac Wilson there officially as a starter is going to help. Because they announced earlier this week that Rising was
Rising's
out.
probably done for. I mean, he should be done for the year if based off what they were saying. So, I mean, no
Yeah,
reason not to go ahead and get the freshmen some opportunities here.
yeah, and he has been really well. He has played really well for a true freshman coming in starting at a place like a Utah where you expect a lot. And so I have Utah winning as well.
Last night we saw a classic out there in Provo. Oklahoma State takes a lead late in this game. I mean, it was a minute and a half to go, and think, uh-oh, this is bad. BYU's going to go down. No, they're not. They're going to drive right down the field, and look, Jake Retzlaff has been fantastic. So, hey, they come out, have another. It was a close game, and Oklahoma State played somewhat to their potential last night. But BYU once again gets the better of them, and is now 7-0. Who imagined
Yeah,
BYU
that
7-0 this year?
so yeah, I definitely did not have them at that, but BYU has been impressive this year. Like they games like that where they've had to battle back. They've had it all. Like BYU is just a good team this year, like quite
Yeah.
frankly.
No, they are
So
100%.
that was definitely a fun game and an instant classic. I watched the highlights earlier and really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Going on to Big Ten, Oregon and Purdue last night. Oregon won 35-0. Not a whole lot to write home about. They just answered the bell after a big time emotional win. They go on the road, and Purdue does not play spoiler. They are now 1-6, and as I imagined, I think the Ryan Walters era ending after this season. It's been horrible. This is not what Purdue wanted. But today at noon, let's get the games out of the way that I think we're both pretty in agreement on. Wisconsin beating Northwestern. I think we're pretty comfortable with that. Wisconsin's up to a 10-point favorite. I got them at 7.5 this morning, so I like that.
I have Wisconsin winning and winning very comfortably as well.
UCLA at Rutgers. If this game was in LA, maybe a lot of travel. Rutgers needs a win. They need to get some momentum back. I think they're going to do it this week. I'm going to take the Scarlet Knights at home.
Yeah, Rutgers wins and wins comfortably.
USC Maryland. We both agreed USC covers earlier, so we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa at Michigan State. We'll talk about this one, actually. I'm interested with this. So Nebraska goes to Indiana. First real test for the Hoosiers at 6-0 in year one under Kurt Cignetti. This team has managed to kind of take the country by storm. They kind of win over the hearts of non-Ohio State or Michigan fans in the Big Ten. And here they are at 6-0, and I think they're favorites in every game going forward, leading up to the Ohio State game, which would put them at 10-0 walking into Columbus. I've said that multiple times over the course of the last few weeks, but it's becoming more and more realistic. if they win today, I think they walk into Columbus at 10-0. They walk into their game in Bloomington against Michigan at 9-0 at a minimum. This Indiana
Mhm.
team is legit. This is not just, hey, we're beating up on bad teams. No, we are one of the best offenses in the country in terms of efficiency. We are one of the best offenses in the country in terms of scoring. Like, this is an actually very good Indiana team that people have never seen anything like this before. You could go back to the days of like Antoine Randall when Indiana was pretty good, but not all that great.
Yeah,
And they were doing some
they could at
interesting
least
stuff.
challenge.
This
Yeah.
year, this Indiana team is a true threat for the college football playoff, and I don't think that they're a threat to go beyond maybe the first round, especially not if they don't get the home field. But this is a good team that I think people need to actually be concerned with when they play them. Nebraska gets a chance here. I'm taking Indiana to win at home today, and I think it really solidifies that this team is legit.
I'll go the opposite. I'll say Nebraska wins this game. They're able to pull the upset off. We've seen Nebraska play really, really well this season. Really, they're out outside of the Colorado game. Like even then, that was like a couple plays. Like they look so much improved this year. I think Nebraska is able to win and pull the upset off. Just because I think that they play very fundamentally sound football, kind of like what you were saying about Iowa State. Like they're another one of those teams where
They've got the
they
fundamentals
just
down, but the biggest
rarely.
issue for me is when they play a defense that has a relative pulse, they kind of stagnate a little bit. I mean, they played okay against Colorado, but they scored 28 points in the first half and then let off the gas, and
Mhm,
Colorado just couldn't capitalize. They scored 14 points against Rutgers, period. 14 points.
mhm,
And then they followed that up. They played Purdue, and they only could score 28 against a Purdue defense that is awful.
mhm.
So I don't know that I agree that Nebraska is. I agree that they're improved. I don't know that I agree that they are a team that might be legit enough to compete with this Indiana squad. And I don't know that they'll be able to score with Indiana. I think Indiana's going to come out here and actually put some points on the board, put the pressure on early, and then it's going to come down to can a true freshman quarterback outduel a fifth-year senior in Curtis Rourke.
Yeah, I just think this is kind of prime letdown
My
spot
mistake.
since
6-year
since
senior
yeah
at Curtis
yeah
Rourke.
yeah
He
six
didn't.
year.
He
Don't
didn't. He
forget
didn't play in 2019 like at all. So I thought he did. I thought he
yeah
wasn't. I thought it was only 5.
yeah.
But hey,
Easy to forget he was there, not playing at all. But yeah, no, I just think this is kind of prime letdown spot for them for Indiana. Like they can enter this game kind of sleepy because they do have some bigger teams ahead on their roster, and Nebraska is a team you don't want to be sleeping
I
against.
don't think so. Both teams coming out of a bye, you're going to get both up at their best. I and and Nebraska has Ohio State next week. By the way. Um, Meanwhile, Indiana plays Washington at home. So, yeah, this is part of a 4-game homestand, by the way, for Indiana coming out of that bye. They're going to play Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State, Michigan, Nebraska, Indiana, and at Ohio State back-to-back weeks. Just saying, I think the schedule, the way this all lines up, it just feels like Indiana's week to get it done. Moving on, 3:30 on CBS, Michigan at Illinois. Illinois wearing their 1920s throwbacks. Cool. I'm taking Michigan to win on the road. I think that this team is better with Jack Tuttle than they are with either Davis Warren or Alex Orji, and that's unfortunate because both those guys I think deserved the shot. But I think it was way too late to make the move. Jack Tuttle should have been the starter last week and should have. He's coming. That was his first week of practice and his first game action in over a season. This is the opportunity here. Come out, prove that this team is good and better with Jack Tuttle. Michigan's still in the playoff race. Truly, they are. But they're going to have to win, and they're going to have to beat one of Oregon and Ohio State to get it done without losing a game they shouldn't lose. I think this is kind of the start of it. I think they're going to win. I like the under in this game because I think that this is going to be, again, a time of possession. Hey, we're going to keep the ball more than you and get the job done. But this is going to be fun. This is going to be a bigger deal than I think people realize. And Luke Altmaier, he's been fantastic this year, by the way. 14 touchdowns to 1 interception. Very underrated and under talked about in terms of college football and how good he's been. It's a fun matchup. It really is. I would like to take Illinois. I would. But I just feel like there's a fire for this Michigan team coming off the bye week. And Illinois, on the other hand, coming off of a game where they had to win 50-49 against Purdue last week.
Yeah, no. I am in agreement here. I do have Michigan winning as well. And I think Michigan definitely is in a need it more type of a mode. So yeah. I have Michigan winning. And like you, I like that under a lot.
Yeah. Moving on, 7:30 p.m. on NBC, Iowa at Michigan State, and typically I would take Michigan State at home here because I think that they have improved this year. But it's who they're playing. It's Iowa. It's the fact that Aiden Childs has turned the ball over 8 times in their first 6 games. It's the fact that Aiden Childs has turned the ball over in these big games a lot, and I think that's not going to change. Iowa's still a ball-hawking team led by Phil Parker as the defensive coordinator. Iowa's going to win this game. I think they're going to win comfortably. But I would not be surprised if Michigan State finds a way to take care of the football. Don't be surprised if this does become a very close game late in the game. This is going to be a fun matchup to watch. Again, I'm taking the Hawkeyes to win outright, though.
Yeah, and I have Iowa winning as well. I think this has potential to be a really fun game, though. Like a sneakily fun game.
Right. All right. Into the SEC we go. Auburn at Missouri. I think we're both in agreement. Missouri wins. So I'm gonna move on from that one. Texas A&M, Mississippi State. That's a 4:15 game. I think we're both in agreement. A&M wins. We'll move from that one to Ball State, Vandy, of course. No worries there.
Vandy.
And then the rest of these games we will talk about. So, starting at 12:45, South Carolina on the road against Oklahoma. I like what South Carolina has been this season. I like a lot of things about this team, and I like where this game falls for South Carolina. They fall directly between Oklahoma playing both Texas and Ole Miss. And both of those games are technically road games. They're not home games by any means because Oklahoma had to go to Dallas to play at the Cotton Bowl. But this game just falls in the perfect spot for South Carolina to maybe come in and kind of be that sleepy team that, hey, we're not really thinking about you, and wins this game. Now, in saying all of that, South Carolina's had some issues against the teams that I think that they should have been able to beat and maybe move the ball against, even at home. The game last week against Alabama, I don't know that we're going to see the same thing's not going to work here. The reason I say that is because Oklahoma doesn't give up those big plays the same way that Alabama does. This is a very sound Oklahoma defense with an offense that just has not figured themselves out yet, doesn't really know what they are and what their identity is. But at the end of the day, this Oklahoma team is very solid. They're very sound across the board on defense, which I think is going to be problematic for the offense of South Carolina. The defensive line for South Carolina and how many problems they can create, I think is a big deal, because we've seen games where outside the Ole Miss game, they've been able to create pressure and it be a big time game changer for every game they played. The Ole Miss game, the only reason it wasn't is because Ole Miss found a way to scheme against it and beat it, which was quick throws that eventually amounted to a rhythm, and then maybe some draw plays. And next thing you know, Ole Miss is punching it down the field in the end zone. I don't know that Oklahoma has the ability to do that. I don't know that Oklahoma has the smarts to do that in this game. Now, all of that said, all of those things I just laid out, I'm taking Oklahoma to win because they are the home team in this game. But obviously,
Yeah.
I'm pulling for South Carolina to win this game, and we'll see what happens. Who knows? But that's gonna be a really fun game. I'm excited for it to come on around 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, it should be a really fun game. It's kind of a prime
It's a
potential
prime
play
letdown
down.
spot. It's a
Yeah.
letdown spot for Oklahoma, but I just don't know that South Carolina
Mhm.
can capitalize on that. I don't know. I really don't. But I like what South Carolina's been doing. I like what
Yeah.
they've been doing on the recruiting trail. Like, I don't think that this is a time where you say, "Hey, look, Beamer, if things keep going this way, we're letting you go." I don't think you can
Yeah.
do that because the
I don't.
recruiting has been on fire recently, and this team's only
Yeah.
getting better.
There.
It's just it's taking a little bit of time. They need to recruit a little better on the offensive line. As soon as they beef up that O line a little bit or get some more experience on that O line, this team is actually very dangerous. It's just going to take some time, and it's taken a little bit to build that up.
Yeah.
They'll get there, and I think that they need to stay patient with this because this is a team that in a couple of years could be an SEC contender. So
Yeah.
we'll see what they do.
Yeah,
But
no. And ultimately I do agree with you. Like I do think Oklahoma is able to win at home. And it feels like Oklahoma definitely needs this game, whereas South Carolina can get by without this game as well. So
right,
I have Oklahoma because of that.
absolutely. All right. Alabama at Tennessee at 3:30 on ABC, part of the SEC on ABC slate today. And to be honest, I talked about this game earlier this week. I'm not going to go too much more in depth. If you want to see what my thoughts are, go back and watch that video specifically. But the end of the day, as I said on Wednesday when we previewed this game, Jalen Milroe is the difference maker, and I think that's going to be the ultimate key to this game. Alabama beats Tennessee in Knoxville.
Give me Rocky Top. I have Tennessee winning this game. I think that Tennessee is wanting to prove that they can beat a team like in Alabama again. Like it's not just going to be like a one-off or a. It's going to happen every now and then. I think that they want to prove everyone in the country and the college football world. Tennessee is here to stay, and I think they want to win this game, and they do pull it off at home.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. 7 p.m. on ESPN, LSU on the road against Arkansas. And this is where I'm pulling the upset. I'm taking Arkansas to get the win over LSU. Look, they're coming off of an emotional win last week at home against Ole Miss that took overtime to get done. And I think this Arkansas team is just kind of being slept on all year long. And they're continuing to prove that they are capable of doing it. I think it's going to be led majorly by Jaquindon Jackson. The teams that have been able to have success against LSU are the teams that have been able to run the football and do it very consistently. When you have guys like Jaquindon Jackson and Taylon Green that are able to do things, and then you have like the random emergence of guys like Tesla for Arkansas at receiver, we're seeing this team get better and better week by week, and I think that Arkansas gets it done at home tonight against LSU.
Yeah, I have Arkansas as well in that game. I think that's going to be a really fun game, though. Honestly, kind of an underrated SEC rivalry there in the battle for the Golden Boot.
Yeah.
But I have Arkansas winning as well because of that, because of exactly what you said. So let's go ahead and move on.
All right. Georgia and Texas tonight in Austin. DKR, of course, going to be rocking. And look, I think that we're going to see Texas win this game. I think they're the best team in college football. I think they're the least flawed team in college football. And I don't think that we're going to see a 30-7 halftime lead for Texas, but I think Texas is going to jump early often, and I think they're going to be able to make this game kind of a hell for Georgia throughout the course. Do I think this is a blowout? No, but I'm taking Texas to win, Texas to cover, and
Mhm.
I'm thinking that we're going to see Texas at number one up until the end of the college football season. Maybe that
Mhm.
final week, maybe if A&M can keep doing what they've been doing, maybe an upset potential there. But for right now,
That's going to be
I'm
fun.
all on Texas tonight.
Yeah.
By the way, if you wanted to go to that game, you can get tickets for as low as $402.
I don't doubt that.
Which is what I've heard.
First A&M versus Texas game in a long
Oh
time.
no, I'm talking about Texas
Oh,
and I'm talking about
today,
Texas and
yeah,
Georgia tonight. I don't even know
yeah.
what tickets would be for that game. Hang on,
I was gonna
I'll
say,
find
I'm
them.
sure that if both teams continue on at the rate that they're on, like it's gonna be like 500-600. But anyways, let's get back to the game at hand
Tickets
in
as low as
Austin.
$587 in Aggieland on November
My
29th.
God, yeah. I have Texas winning though as well in this game. Like I think Texas. I'm with you. Texas is the best team in the country, and all this talk that they're that oh, Oregon just beat Ohio State. Oh, this just happened. Oh, that just happened. Like that's gonna light a fire under Sark and his Texas team. Like they are going to want to prove, no, we're the fucking number one team in the country.
Oh
Like
yeah.
step aside. And they're and like you said, I doubt that they get out to a huge halftime lead, but they definitely do win comfortably and control the entire game.
Yeah. Lastly, this game is one I really want to talk about because Kentucky goes on the road to Gainesville to face Florida in the swamp. DJ Lagway's first start at Florida, and I think it's going to be a big deal. Look, this Florida team, I think is much better than people give them credit for, and I understand that people say, "Oh, they're bad because they're going to lose a bunch of SEC games." That's never been the case. That's not true, and it should not be held true.
Mm-hmm.
This team looks bad because of who they've played, but every time they've jumped out of the conference, they've been consistent. They've won those games. They lost to Miami, but Miami might actually be that much better than them. When you look at everything else, they lost to Texas A&M. So be it. Texas A&M is a good team, but they go and they beat Mississippi State. They beat UCF, who is decent. Not great, but they're decent, and they hung around with Tennessee in Knoxville. And now they're going to follow that up this week with a game against Kentucky, DJ Lagway's first start, and an opportunity to say, "Hey, look, we are here, and we're actually a decent team." Obviously, they are not a championship competitive team.
Mm-hmm.
However, they can go beat Kentucky, and then they play Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. They're probably going to be 5-7 at the end of this year, and that's okay. However, this is a good team. I think it's going to be a team that people are going to maybe sleepwalk through, and they may catch somebody off guard, maybe get that 6th win. But for right now, I think they go in tonight against Kentucky, as I've said.
Yeah, and I do think that this Florida team is better than a lot of people are giving them credit. Like I do agree with you as well. I I do think that they get a win here as well.
Yeah. Okay, some other storylines before we get out of here. Today, in the American, Army and Navy both look to stay undefeated. Navy looking to go 6-0 and 4-0 in American Athletic Conference play. Army looks to move to 7-0, 6-0 in American Athletic Conference play. The Army against East Carolina. Navy plays Charlotte today. Big deal. Yes or no? Do you believe did they both stay unbeaten today?
So Navy has Charlotte. Yes, I think Navy stays undefeated. Then who does Army have again?
ECU.
ECU. Yes, I think both stay undefeated.
All right. 100th Battle of the Bricks today. Ohio is 4-2, unbeaten in conference play, going on the road to Miami, Ohio, who is 2-4, 1-1 in MAC play. Miami, Ohio is a 3.5-point favorite, and Brett Gabbert has looked a lot better. 9 touchdowns and 7 interceptions so far this season. He's definitely turned that number around from what it was after the first 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still taking the Cats. Ohio wins the 100th Battle of the Bricks over Miami.
I have Ohio winning as well. Like, I think that we've just seen more consistency out of their offense.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, like Miami, Ohio's been very streaky. So
Yeah,
give me
I
Ohio.
really like Tim Albin and what he's been able to do. I'm
Mhm.
really excited for the rest of the year for them. Toledo goes on the road to Northern Illinois. This is kind of a big deal for conference championship implications. Both teams are 1-1, so one of these teams is going to have a hole to dig out of after this one. Games being played in DeKalb, Illinois, of course, at the home of the NIU Huskies. But I'm going to take Tucker Gleason. I'm going to take Jason Candle and the Toledo Rockets to get the win and improve to 2-1 in conference play today.
Yeah, I I'm leaning towards NIU actually. I think NIU kind of likes where they're at. Like they're kind of slept on, kind of not talked about. So I think that they're going to um continue to roll in that fashion, and I think they are able to get the dub. I like their running back room a decent amount. Like I think that they've got some good running backs there, and that's what they like to do there in DeKalb. Like they like to run the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that they're able to once again control the pace of play.
Last game we're going to talk about today, JMU going on the road to Statesboro to face Georgia Southern. This is a big deal. JMU's a 10-point favorite. Personally, I'm taking Georgia Southern to win this game. I think they're going to get the job done on the road. Their offense has been really solid so far this year. JMU's had some issues against some better offenses, and at times their offense has kind of struggled themselves. Not sure that's today, but this game being on the road, a road trip for them early in the season, they're already 1-1 in Sun Belt play. I'm going to take Georgia Southern and Clay Helton to get the win today.
Yeah, I'm actually with you as well. Like I like Georgia Southern so far this year. Like I think they're a good team. I like what I've seen out of that offense. They've been high flying, very aggressive so far, and I think that they're going to continue that. And so I think that Georgia Southern is able to win and pull the upset off there.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for us. That was
Also, I
a
just
good
want
hour.
to comment. Yes, BJ, I saw that those bastards down south in Provo won, but I complimented them. You can even ask Isley.
He did. I was ignoring BJ because, he ignored his alarm this morning, apparently. So, you know.
Hopefully, we'll see you next week,
I mean,
Mister
he don't, no,
Netanyahu.
no, next week's not a big enough slate for him. He said last week and this week, or the weeks he was going to show up, and no, he wasn't there. So, hey, whatever. You're lost. You missed out. Sucks for you. We'll be back,
Like
of course,
bitch.
next week. We'll be back, of course, next week on Saturday. I think we're gonna have a show Monday morning. I'm gonna try to go live, recap the weekend. Definitely should be able to. I don't have anything planned on Monday now, so that should be a solid one. Cam, you're more than welcome to hop in for that too if you want to. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, we'll see you guys on Monday. Enjoy your college football Saturday. If you're going to the games, as I always say, please stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Don't drink and drive. Um, and enjoy what should be a great weekend of sports. We got some great college football action. We got some great hockey action today. Today is loaded with
Dude,
with
hockey is
NHL
absolutely
action,
loaded.
and I'm not going to be able to watch the majority of it. Well, I might put some of it on. Specifically,
Yeah.
Columbus plays tonight, and I'm excited because it's Minnesota, and we get a chance to get revenge very early in the season against them. They beat us in the first game in Minneapolis, and maybe we get a shot here. So a lot of good stuff
Yeah.
this weekend. I'm excited.
If you like hockey, definitely tune in. Today's slate is absolutely fucking fantastic.
Which is crazy because it's a great slate on a Saturday, and we got a
Mhm.
really decent college football slate too. So it's going to be fun to
Yeah.
try to piece around between it all. So excited.
Mhm.
We'll see you guys on Monday. Y'all have